everyone, this is Sheila of SMAP Early Years, and yes, you see it right. I now have a SMAP Early Years t-shirt thanks to the sponsor. Just kidding. So a friend made this for me for YouTube videos and Instagram. So it might be an inspiration for me to carry on doing videos. But yes, it says here SMAP Early Years. SMAP stands for Smart, Mindful, and active participant of the learning process. And early years because I work with early years practitioners or early childhood educators, and I myself is an early childhood educator. I also teach in preschool, and I am a principal in a preschool here in Indonesia. For today's video, I'll just be touching base with the parents and educators who follow us and revisit the principles that SMAP Early Years stand for or upholds in terms of education. Our approach to education is very simplistic. It's too simple that most of the time is not accepted in the school system. Many parents or even educators would argue to the idea of let your child play, let them explore, forget about your learning goals. I would always get a very stern reaction when I say those things, and I would understand. I could resonate, not resonate, but I could totally understand where they're coming from. Like some parents would tell me, yes, miss, this is very nice. It's such a beautiful idea. But then again, you have to realize that our children are going to primary school and they'll be doing a lot of these worksheets. So they need to be prepared. And on my end, like, no, let the primary worry about it. Let the preschool be kids. Let the children be children at this stage. Let them explore. But basically, it's something that is so, like, a really very big topic that we could explore as we go along. Like what I said, this is an approach to education, not an approach in a school or not a curriculum in a school, which reminds me of this video on YouTube by Seth Godin when he talked about leadership versus management. If you don't know or haven't heard of this guy, you might want to Google his name up. Seth Godin. He is a very famous author turned blogger, and he has very profound ideas and principles in education and leadership. So basically, he mentioned in this video that school or education is not the same as school. Let me repeat that. Education is not the same as school. Maybe you guys are wondering what does he mean by it, or you might want to reflect on it. In the education or in the school system now, do you really think that it is education? You might want to reckon or think about the history. When was school invented? So if you may recall, schools were invented more than 100 years ago by industrialists. And so why did they invent school? Is to produce people who will work for industries, maybe factories, and who would be doing certain things or certain skills. But he also talked about it in his video that, the problem about this school is that we are producing the same kind of people. And so when the world changed, these people will have difficulty adjusting. And as you know, with the technology now, we don't need those people anymore who will be doing things for the factory because machines can do that. So what do we need to do? What do we need to work on in school? We have to really turn school into education. And that's where the SMAP Early Years principles or idea are really coming from. And we're inspired by a lot of philosophies and approaches such as the Reggio Emilia philosophy. I'm very inspired by Lev Vygotsky's theories, although there's a lot of questions about it, but I'm very much inspired by that. I am also inspired by the Project Zero, the Harvard Research Institute, and many others. So going back to the school system, whereby they're just producing like, compliant workers, would you like your children to be a compliant worker in the future? So we have to reflect on that. Right, so think about it. Okay, the difference between school and education and how we can put this together if it's possible, right? I think it is. And that brings me to point number 2. So as much as I am working with a school or a preschool, I am also supportive of homeschooling. So if a parent, especially in the early years, chose to homeschool their child, that's totally fine. And it might be more beneficial for your children than putting them in a school that actually just do a lot of worksheets and drilling. Okay, again, we don't want to produce children or grown-ups in the future who will just be working for factories, because for all we know, there are a lot of machines that can do all of those things. We want our children to grow into an adult who thinks, who's able to cope with challenges and changes in the world. So if you choose to homeschool your child, that's totally perfect, and it's something that we could also support you, and something that I'll be working on in this platform. On that note, let me quote Lev Vygotsky. Okay, children grow into the intellectual life of those around them. So if you are an educator or you're a parent or you're choosing to homeschool your children, be the grown-up that you'd like your children to be. If you'd like your children to be a reader yourself. If you'd like your child to be sociable yourself. I've encountered a lot of parents who would come to me like, my child doesn't want to socialize. When we go to a party, he's just so quiet. He doesn't want to join, or he would just throw tantrums, etc., etc. But I would always ask the parents, how comfortable are you when you are in a social situation? Sometimes we put a lot of pressure on the children and wanting them to be the person that we want them to be. And when we reflect on ourselves, that's actually not who we are, and it's not something that we can be. So I'm not saying that you have to really be the person that you want your child to be, but at least try it. At least try it. We cannot really impose to our children to be that person when you yourself cannot be that person. So imagine, like I remember this child who told me like, I am still a child. So always think about it. Our children have been here for only a few years. If your child is 4 years old, your child has only been in this world for 4 years. And you, how old are you? Right? And we impose so much on the children that we ourselves cannot do. So think about it, whether you are a parent, an educator, and a parent who is homeschooling their child, be the grown-up that you want your child to be. And always remember this, children grow into the intellectual life of those around them. So how would you like to be that person for your child? What kind of thinking you'd like to impart to your children? What kind of being you'd like to impart to your children? So like what I said, our approach is very simplistic. So on that note, you can just be the person that you want your child to be. You want a child who wants to learn? Be a learner yourself. You want your child to be inquisitive? Be inquisitive. And on that note, I'd like to briefly talk about, inquiry, and how teachers would say it's so difficult to do inquiry with children. And so I would always ask the teachers, stop for a moment. Have you been inquiring yourself? Have you ever stopped and wonder, what are you wondering about this topic? So, oftentimes we would go on and on as a teacher, right? Okay, well, what about this topic? Okay, we could do this, we could do that, we could do, so many things. We could list a lot of things. But have we ever stopped and wonder, how does it make sense to these children? By talking about this topic, what will the children benefit from it? If you're going to talk about plants, what's in it for children? So always think about that. And if you start to inquire as a teacher, as a grown-up, I wonder what will the children learn from it. I wonder what's in it for the children. You just rephrase your question like, I wonder what yeah, I wonder what will the child or these children will benefit from this topic. You are inquiring yourself. So just be an inquirer yourself. And inquiring or inquiry approach will be very, very beneficial and so meaningful in every class. I think I'll end on that, and then we'll digest all these little things or all those ideas as we record another video. Please let me know if you have specific questions. Currently, I have received questions about, tantrums, which is also something that I am very passionate about, like talking about children's tantrums. What else? Yeah, but basically my interest is about inquiry and open-ended exploration with children, and it's something that you can also do at home. Okay, so perhaps on the next video we'll be talking about environment, whether in school or at home. Alright, so comment down below any questions that you might have that you'd like us to discuss, and I'm also keen on doing a live video chat so we could talk, because I'm more into live than recording. This is very awkward for me. So see you in the next video. Bye.